Alex Cooper is undoubtedly the most notorious interviewer in the history of podcasts. And that may sound exaggerated, but the more you watch her interviews, the more undeniable it becomes, with her awkward silences, her disregard for emotional depth, and her fixation on the most trivial details, not to mention those never-ending sexual innuendos. Even when the mood is serious, Alex Cooper stands as one of the most influential podcast personalities of the past decade, with Spotify backing her. A staggering $60 million, while brands threw money at her from every direction, and celebrities eagerly waited for their turn to grace her couch, crafting an empire that, on paper, should be completely untouchable. She epitomizes the inflated persona on the internet who established her platform before honing any real skills she's now banking on. So, fasten your seatbelts because I'm diving deep into it all. The tumultuous split with her former co-host, how her personal brand eclipsed the quality of her work, and why audiences are finally holding her accountable. Alex Cooper. With every interview, we kick things off with her classic style. "Okay, so let's discuss that day," she says, to which Hailey Bieber responds, "I just want to feel at ease." Hailey, when I say I've never seen anyone look so perfectly cozy yet adorable, it's mind-blowing. Anyway, every time I tune in, I'm left wondering if I'm losing my intellect. Like, what exactly is going on here? You have Cardi B in your living room and you're asking her the dumbest questions ever. We want genuine insights, real journalism. And then it's always this. "So I heard you didn't have a father figure growing up. How was that?" Followed by, "Yeah, totally." And then out of nowhere, "By the way, that Gucci interview you did, wild, right?" Like, how obsessed? I mean, utterly obsessed for hours. Can we just not go to school for a minute? She's a terrible conversationalist. It's like you're eavesdropping on the most basic chat you've ever heard. Count me out. And remember, she's raking in $60 million for this nonsense. Before Alex Cooper became a podcast powerhouse, she was just half of what felt like a cultural revolution known as Call Her Daddy back in 2018. The show launched as a cheeky, comedic, and raw podcast featuring Alex and her then best friend and co-host, Sofia Franklin. The formula was straightforward: share outrageous hookup tales, discuss toxic relationships, and empower women to take charge of their sexuality. It struck a chord at just the right moment. I recall being in Toronto, enjoying dinner when my server couldn't stop raving about Call Her Daddy. I had never even heard of it at that point. I had never come across Alex Cooper before, nor had I any idea that everyone was buzzing about the podcast. It was literally everywhere. Apparently, Alex and Sofia cultivated a sisterly bond that felt chaotic, messy, hilarious, and oddly liberating. Their chemistry was electric, and that genuine dynamic is what truly made the show stand out. Not the production quality, not the themes explored, and certainly not the structure. It was all about them. The undeniable connection between Alex and Sofia created this sense of invulnerability. It led audiences to believe they were witnessing a cultural evolution where women could freely discuss sex, dating, and personal failures without fear. Barstool Sports quickly signed them, and the podcast exploded, attracting millions of listeners who tuned in every week for advice that was clearly unserious but entertaining. It never mattered that neither woman had any formal training in narrative production, media interviewing, or journalism, which is why what unfolded next was one of the wildest and most dramatic downfalls in podcast history. In 2020, the podcast crumbled as they fell into a dispute with Barstool over contract details and ownership, which can get quite messy. So be mindful of your partnerships. Alex then took on the role of the victim as Sofia's boyfriend stirred up trouble in the negotiations, and fans flocked to her side. What's your favorite horror movie? I don't know, maybe the one where I have to witness Alex Cooper's rise to fame while people idolize her as a role model, despite her betrayal of her best friend to reach this point. Watching Alex and Dave Portnoy publicly drag Sofia, leading Barstool fans to target her with bullying that continues to this day, it's shocking. It's hard to watch Alex act like Sofia never existed or contributed to the success of Call Her Daddy, all while Alex Cooper constructs an empire valued at hundreds of millions of dollars. They've realized was quite trivial, yet captivating. Ultimately, it was irrelevant that neither of the women possessed any formal education in narrative creation, media, interviewing, journalism. This is why the subsequent events led to one of the wildest and most intense breakdowns in podcast history. In 2020, the show eventually fell apart. The conflict began when they started clashing with Barstool over contractual issues and, naturally, ownership. Honestly, that kind of situation can get incredibly chaotic. Take care in choosing your collaborators. Alex then portrayed herself as the aggrieved party, since Sofia's boyfriend at the time was meddling with the negotiations. Consequently, an influx of fans rushed to support her. What's your favorite? Horror film? I'm not sure. Maybe the one in which I have to witness Alex Cooper climbing the ladder of success while being hailed as a role model when she literally stabbed her best friend in the back to achieve her current status. Observing Alex and Dave Portnoy publicly criticize Sofia, which has led Barstool fans to harass her, a trend that continues even today. Watching Alex act as though Sofia never existed or played a role in the triumph of Call Her Daddy is astonishing. Watching Alex Cooper create an empire valued in the hundreds of millions of dollars, Alex acts as though Sofia was never part of the journey or played a role in the triumph of Call Her Daddy, while observing Alex Cooper construct an empire valued in the hundreds of millions of dollars. And Sofia walked away with not a single dollar, despite being the mastermind behind the term unwell, presenting herself as the diligent creative force behind the entire project. She portrayed herself as someone who had to bear the full burden of production, while Sofia contributed very little. Whether this portrayal holds true or not, it regrettably became the narrative believed by the public. However, this pivotal moment established a new standard. Once Alex took over as the sole owner and host of Call Her Daddy, she could no longer lean on the chaos or the collaborative dynamic that had contributed to the podcast's success. She now had to demonstrate to everyone that she could independently manage this entire podcast, which, let's be honest, sounds quite daunting. I wouldn't be able to do it. She needed to prove that she actually had the interviewing skills, emotional insight, and narrative intuition necessary to elevate this podcast into a polished, long-form platform, and this is precisely where things began to unravel. The truth is, Alex lacked these essential qualities to begin with. Spotify reportedly offered Alex a deal worth $60 million, marking her as one of the highest-paid podcasters worldwide. The issue, however, lay in the fact that this deal was based on the belief that she could transition from being a sex comedy host to a long-form interviewer capable of engaging in conversations with prominent celebrities. But that leap was nothing more than an unattainable fantasy. Her audience heavily anticipated her evolution, yet she simply failed to deliver. Her brand managed to grow far beyond her actual talent, creating a glaring gap that became impossible to overlook. So you're about 5 years old and land the role at Cindy Lou. Could you walk me through that experience? Do you remember the audition? Oh my God, there's no way. I'm obsessed. You're the worst interviewer, but an incredible guest. Somehow she manages to come off poorly in every single interview. You guys, it's never any good. Oh my God, I can't believe that. Love that for you. How Gen Z can we possibly be? And at the end of the day, we're left with nothing. None of those interviews ever reveal anything new. Seriously, tell me something I don't already know. People keep saying, oh, on the newest episode of Call Her Daddy, but honestly, I couldn't care less. I just know it won't be worthwhile. Let's not forget her incessant swearing every 5 words, right. Couldn't we tone that down? Nope, not a chance. But hold on, Taylor Momsen absolutely crushed her answer, providing complete, detailed essays, while Alex Cooper merely showed up. That's a perfect summary of this entire situation. Can someone please explain what is even remotely likable about Alex Cooper? Because I just don't see it. I might not be what you consider cool. I'm getting a bit old, so perhaps I'm missing something. I would genuinely love to know. Please enlighten me. Haha, Alex Cooper is the top comment, period queen. But honestly, I can't stand her. Every single time I read these comments, it feels like I've stumbled upon a secret community of people who are just done with it all. There's this bizarre disconnect that happens when someone skyrockets to such astounding heights, amassing wealth and success. People begin to question, but why are you worth that much if you can't keep pushing for greatness to justify that? If I tune into that podcast and after 5 minutes, I'm totally over it, everyone will think it's way too overhyped and not even good. They'll see she's got the worst interviewing skills, and these kinds of comments really get to me. Why are women tearing each other down? If you don't like someone, just scroll past or block them. You don't need to engage or have any opinion. However, it's crucial we highlight what makes sense and what doesn't. I don't appreciate people trying to silence me, because guess what? This is my entire channel. I want to express myself and discuss topics that matter. We need to understand why someone can earn such substantial payouts for doing so little, regardless of whether they are a man or a woman. I'll discuss whatever I need to uncover the truth and get the journalism I believe is necessary in this case. For someone to be granted such a massive platform, along with endorsements, sponsorships, and a massive following, we also need to reflect on why that is. As consumers, we have the power to choose what content we support. And if we think something is rubbish, we can express that opinion. Accruing such wealth for minimal effort, whether she was male or female, makes no difference to me. I will speak out on any issue necessary. to uncover the truth. I need to engage in genuine journalism. For someone to gain an enormous platform complete with brand, partnerships, sponsorships, and a vast following, they must be a genuinely impactful figure online. We must also question why, and if we genuinely want to keep engaging with that material. We are the audience. We have the power to choose what we wish to consume, and we can dismiss what we find ridiculous. The main reason you're left feeling let down by Alex Cooper's interviews on Call Her Daddy whenever she features a major celebrity is that you envision her as someone she truly isn't. And let's be clear, Alex Cooper has never branded herself as a journalist, but some of you are expecting her to meet that standard. When the truth is, she's merely a promotional platform for stars. These guests appear on her podcast to sell something as the show increasingly focuses on celebrity chats. All of the shortcomings in Alex's interviewing skills became painfully apparent. She couldn't foster genuine conversation and failed to delve into emotional layers. She resorted to sexual jokes even in unsuitable contexts, and she has this awful tendency to rush through transitions and interrupt her guests mid-sentence. Her inquiries often come off as rehearsed, disjointed, or out of sync with the flow of the discussion, as though she's reading from scripted cards. Dude, just toss those cards. You're interacting with a human being. Show them some respect and genuinely engage. Oh my god. And then it's like, someone begins to respond and it's like, yup, yeah, It's clear you aren't actually listening. It's like you're saying, I'm not here for you. Numerous journalists, hosts, and podcasters have devoted years to refining their art, mastering interview flow, trauma-sensitive dialogue, storytelling, and active listening. But Alex skipped all of that. She was plunged into the deep end without knowing how to swim. And it shows. Yes, bitch. You're not meant to speak yet. Oh, sorry. It's all good. My first podcast. You can talk, but really, it's fine. Everyone, let's welcome Miley freaking Cyrus. Thanks for taking 4 years and her trampling over another woman for folks to see. She's a terrible interviewer. Can you really tell Miley Cyrus to stop talking? Wait, I can't get over the fact that you think saying you're not meant to talk yet is just wild. I'm honestly not convinced she should even be in the same space as Miley Cyrus. What really irks me is the fact that there's a literal queue of people eager for this platform and this chance. It's not about whether she deserved it or if she climbed there herself, it's about how she's maintaining that opportunity. How does she come to the table every day, loving her craft, growing it, rather than just asking, how can I rake in more cash? How can I boost my views? It should be about figuring out how to keep those original fans engaged, how to provide them with what they desire, and enhance the quality of her production. It's not merely about appearances. It seems like she's only focused on presenting something visually appealing from the outside, while the substance is rotting away beneath it all. It's honestly embarrassing. And once the cracks surface and everyone calls her out, how is she going to adapt? How will she improve? She's never encountered a follow-up question in her life. Why are we simply ticking off questions? Okay, done with one cue card, on to the next. Like, are you even human? You're being manipulated by Alex Cooper and the whole Call Her Daddy mindset. She's a prime example of how elites profess progressiveness while adhering to traditional roots. They claim to embrace a million identities and are all about sexual empowerment. But when the cameras are off, they're well aware that the classic approach is what truly pays off. Alex Cooper built her wealth and fame by advising women to deceive, hook up, party, and play the field. But privately, she behaved much more conventionally. The pinnacle of her fame was advising women to keep a roster. That's how you tackle all your issues. If he doesn't text back, just line them up. If one bails on you, just grab the next one, and the next, and the next. And what's disheartening is that women are out there listening to her, touting how liberating and empowering it all was. That's not what she meant. She was delivering the podcast equivalent of that tweet, snickering at all of you while heading home to her long-term boyfriend, now fiancé, now husband, and still counting cash like there's no tomorrow. Glorifying the behavior she knows doesn't serve women well. You have been completely deceived, and it's time to reject these people and the culture that peddles these falsehoods. They don't truly care about you. Listening to them just leaves you feeling lonely, sad, and superficial. If I ever find myself on reality TV and somehow get famous, I don't even know if I'd agree to be on Call Her Daddy because Alex Cooper really irritates me. If I were to become famous or something and received an invitation to Call Her Daddy, I honestly don't know if I would participate, as Alex Cooper annoys the heck out of me. Seriously, what is the point? Just to hear someone claim they're fixated, ha! So fixated, then cracks a sexual joke at the worst possible moment. Why waste our time? Other journalists haven't held back at all and have completely slammed her interviewing style, pointing out her lack of emotional insight and the near absence of any coherent storyline in her episodes. This only backs up what the viewers have been saying. Those easy questions are failing to impress, calling Call Her Daddy a mockery of journalism in this intellectual era, especially with Chapel Roan now facing another onslaught from fans for her relentless buzz, who approach her and expect her to share her thoughts on the current state of affairs. I stumbled across yet another white woman taking heat for what might be an unjustifiable defense of Alex Cooper's journalistic prowess. The main issues with her podcast highlighted online, particularly in this TikTok, suggest that Cooper's interviewing techniques are more focused on turning the guest into a new buddy instead of actually digging for meaningful insights and pressing the guest to uncover new, engaging information. In other words, it seems listeners don't leave the episode feeling any more informed about the guest than when they tuned in, with some labeling Cooper as the worst interviewer in the current media landscape. Zachary points out examples from her chats with Avril Lavigne and Chappelle Roan, where Cooper only scratches the surface with questions and turns the spotlight on herself, internet lore, and nostalgia, rather than probing deep for fresh insights about their work and processes while keeping the guest at the forefront. He continues, stating that these interviews resemble casual chats between friends, which is acceptable for a show marketed as just that. However, Cooper has branded Call Her Daddy as serious journalism, and ultimately, the truth is, this banter is genuinely tiresome. It's dull. I don't want to see a product review where you just stand there saying how excited you were to buy it and how you couldn't wait to try it on, because honestly, I don't care. Just tell me about the product. Share what's happening. My time is precious, so when I watch something, I want substance. When you're sitting there chatting about your dinner from last night, nobody truly cares. Die-hard Avril Lavigne fans don't care if you think she's a conspiracy if you believe she's Melissa. That's utterly cringeworthy. True fans want to ask crucial questions, seek her opinions on vital topics, and you could be the one to facilitate that. You have Avril Lavigne right in front of you. The most startling aspect of Alex Cooper's decline isn't a scandal or any misconduct. It stems from the growing awareness over the past year that audiences across TikTok, Reddit, YouTube, and Twitter question her interviewing abilities if she even possesses them. Entire threads titled "Why is Alex Cooper such a poor interviewer?" or "Why does Call Her Daddy feel so awkward now?" have gained surprising traction. Do you think Alex is a subpar interviewer? Why? It's painfully clear that she just rapidly fires off pre-written questions from cue cards without any genuine follow-up most times. Guests could offer heartfelt, intriguing responses that clearly invite expansion, yet Alex will just shoot back with some cringeworthy one-liner or merely pivot to the next question, like, "You know, I love that you said that because," and then parrots back what they just said every single time. It's infuriating. The Ellen episode particularly irked me. Ellen mentioned 3 different times that she grew up around mobsters, and Alex didn't even consider delving deeper into that. So annoying. Why are we just sitting there to glimpse a celebrity? I crave the gritty details, and if you're not going to deliver, count me out. The shift in viewer perception is crucial because podcasting thrives on intimacy. Audiences are very attuned to tone. They can sense when the interviewer is truly enthusiastic and engaged versus when they're merely going through the motions. Once that illusion is shattered, it rarely mends. And this perfectly exemplifies what media scholars refer to as inflated influence, where someone's platform expands. Once that illusion shatters, it rarely re-establishes itself, and this perfectly illustrates what media theorists refer to as inflated influence, where a person's platform amplifies unexpectedly. Faster than her actual skills allowed, she shot to fame for something she could effortlessly accomplish, yet the industry began demanding she function at a professional standard for which she'd never been trained. This disparity between what was expected and what she was capable of became the core conflict of her downfall in conventional journalism. While you typically receive guidance and encouragement, Alex burst onto the scene through sheer virality rather than formal training, and the internet rewarded her with accolades, cash, and celebrity so swiftly that she never felt the need to enhance her craft. Ironically, her biggest blunder was attempting to morph into someone she wasn't. She thrived best when hosting a laid-back, comedic, unfiltered show with a friend who complimented her style, but she shifted toward in-depth celebrity interviews, trauma revelations, and journalistic explorations formats requiring a completely different skill set. Right now, there's a viral clip of 2 white influencers interviewing Megan Thee Stallion at the prestigious Vanity Fair Oscars after-party, a highly exclusive A-list gathering where they clearly disrespected her, leaving her feeling uncomfortable. I want to share my take as an influencer who has conducted carpet interviews, aspires to expand in that area, but also attended journalism school and undertook broadcasting training. I think it's fantastic that influencers get to serve as correspondents at major events, and some excel at it. However, one pattern I've noticed, particularly among white creators, not meant as an offense, just an honest observation, especially in comedy, is a lack of decorum and the inability to discern the appropriate behavior in different environments. As black individuals, we learn the art of code switching. I'm not suggesting that I want influencers to miss out on opportunities. Every chance I've received is due to my status as an influencer, not because of my formal journalism, education, or broadcasting training. It stems from simply picking up this phone and hitting record. My journey is unique since I built a following on TikTok. Yet, there's so much that goes into conducting an interview that viewers aren't aware of, which I believe influencers overlook when they assume, oh yeah, I'll just get a mini mic and head to the red carpet. I personally find that frustrating, as I would never want to take on that role. Throughout my podcast's previous season, I removed it from the internet because I might just be working on something new later, just a little teaser. However, I could never interview anyone. This is about my story. I could never attempt to usurp the opportunity of a professional who has studied for it. Do you think just because someone follows me that I have the right or skill to take on that role? I don't. That opportunity rightfully belongs to someone with expertise. I detest when people presume they can do anything, simply because they have followers. Those red carpet roles should be designated for genuine reporters, not influencers. It's a legitimate career and should not simply go to someone due to their following. Instead of immersing herself in the entertainment realm, she aimed to replicate the essence of Oprah, Howard Stern, or Emma Chamberlain, yet without the subtlety, discipline, or even narrative sensitivity that those figures honed over many years of hard work. We also need to acknowledge those who don't have everything given to them. It's essential to earn it. When you put in the effort and eventually stand before someone of significance, you must never waste that chance. As she strayed further from her inherent strengths, the show undeniably lost its focus. Episodes became erratic, at times appearing exploitative and at other times feeling shallow. The tone became hard to pin down. It's not that nobody tunes in anymore, it's that the show has lost its ability to spur cultural conversations. Interviews don't trend for their depth or insights, but because people react to the awkwardness, which can be painful. Honestly, I've stopped watching. The brand that once stood for rebellion and truth now seems to embody discomfort and forced performances. Alex Cooper actually has the potential to elevate her craft. She possesses everything necessary to transform her show into a genuinely impactful platform. The platform, the guests, the audience, and the resources. Episodes occasionally felt erratic, sometimes exploitative, and at times superficial. The overall tone became unbearable. It's not that nobody tunes in any longer, it's simply that the show no longer fuels cultural discussions. Interviews fail to trend due to depth or wisdom. Instead, they trend because viewers are reacting to the awkwardness, and honestly, it's painful at times. Like, I just don't watch anymore. The brand that once symbolized rebellion and authenticity now reflects discomfort and forced theatrics. Alex Cooper has the potential to truly evolve her craft, given that she possesses all the necessary resources. With the platform, guests, audience, and tools at her disposal, she could transform her show into something genuinely meaningful. Yet what she truly requires is humility, the openness to acknowledge that she isn't the interviewer she professes to be, but that she can evolve into one and that she's making the effort. However, Alex Cooper's decline isn't rooted in scandal or ethics. It's about the boundaries of virality. You can establish a dynasty based on charm, but you cannot maintain it without proficiency. I firmly believe that no one is too talented, wealthy, or attractive to diligently strive to improve at something. The internet has the power to elevate Alex swiftly, but it also scrutinizes you like a watchful predator. Eventually, the truth will surface, and the reality is that Alex Cooper's success was crafted on timing and image, not on ability. Once she took on a role demanding true interview skills, her faults became increasingly evident. For the first time, the audience is genuinely distinguishing the brand from the talent. Currently, we're witnessing influencers falling from grace swiftly, called out for their lackluster performances and absence of genuine talent. Just take a look at the criticism directed at Kim Kardashian's latest show. It's a free-for-all. If you missed my in-depth analysis on that, you can click right here. Honestly, I find it incredible that people are finally awakening, and Alex Cooper's decline marks merely the start. Thank you all for tuning in to today's video. If you liked it, please hit that big thumbs up and leave a comment below sharing when you last listened to Call Her Daddy. Be honest now. If it was yesterday, say so. And if it was 4 years ago, like I mentioned it below. Queen, let's not play. Nobody's tuning in anymore. No one is listening. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to click here to watch the decline of natural beauty. If you haven't checked that out yet, I believe you'll find it engaging. Or you can click here to see the death of pretty privilege, which is another compelling video I think you'll really appreciate. You know, I create these videos because I care about you and genuinely wish the best for you. I hope you have an incredible day or night, whenever you're watching, and I'll catch you very soon. That one is also an excellent video. I believe you'll thoroughly enjoy it. I only produce these videos because I genuinely care about you and want the best for you. I hope you have an incredible day.